Pocket FM.
To unlock all the episodes, click the link in bio.
Trinity's trapped in visions, her bond with Reese weakening as warlocks claim her. Reese, seeing fear in Ezekiel's eyes, avoids their trap. He tracks them to ruins via a mysterious box, finding they're using blood magic to steal Trinity's power and sever their bond. He and Juniper prepare to attack. What fear did Reese see? What's in the box? What power do they want? What information does Reese have? Will they stop the ritual? Will Trinity remember Reese if the bond breaks? Reese and Juniper moved swiftly through the ruins, their senses sharp, ready to strike. The warlocks had been here. Magic lingered in the air, thick and oppressive. But something was wrong. Too quiet, too still. Then without warning, a wave of invisible force slammed into them. Reese barely had time to register the shift before his vision blurred, the world twisting into darkness. His wolf howled in alarm, but it was too late. The warlocks had laid their trap. His body collapsed, yet his mind was somewhere else. Reese found himself standing in the middle of a vast open field, golden under the light of a setting sun. But this place, he knew it. It was his childhood home, the training grounds of his old pack. The scent of pine and the distant howl of his former packmates filled the air. His chest tightened. "Reese, you're hesitating!" a booming voice called out. He turned sharply. His father, Alpha Darius, stood before him, arms crossed, his expression stern. A young version of himself, barely 16, was sparring against a much larger packmate. The younger Reese stumbled, panting, while his opponent loomed over him, victorious. "You lost because you hesitated. Do it again," Darius barked. Reese's breath hitched. This was a memory, one of his most painful ones. But why was he reliving it now? Meanwhile, Juniper gasped as the world around her fractured. She was no longer in the ruins either. She stood in the middle of a vast, snow-covered clearing. Her heart pounded. No, not here. The frozen ground was stained red with blood. She knew this place well. It was where she had lost her brother. A figure stood in the distance, back turned to her. Her breath caught in her throat. "Gale?" she whispered. Slowly, the figure turned, revealing the face of her older brother, his eyes hollow and accusing. "You let me die." Juniper stumbled back, shaking her head. "No, I tried to save you." But Gale only stepped closer. "You ran." The words hit her like a physical blow. Juniper's hands clenched into fists. "No, this isn't real. You're not real." A sudden whisper echoed around her. "But your guilt is." The warlock's spell had ensnared them both, trapping them in their worst memories, in their deepest regrets. And unless they found a way to break free, they would be lost in the past forever. Reese gritted his teeth, forcing himself to focus. He knew this was an illusion, but it felt too real. His father's voice, the scent of sweat and earth, it pulled at him, trying to keep him trapped. His younger self in the sparring ring charged again, only to be knocked down once more. Darius shook his head, his disappointment palpable. "Strength isn't just power," his father said. "It's knowing when to act and when to wait. But hesitation in battle means death." Reese clenched his fists. "I know that. I've always known that." Darius raised a brow. "Then why are you still here?" The words stopped Reese cold. His mind reeled. Why am I still here? The memory flickered. The warlock's spell was strong, but his father's words had given him something, a crack in the illusion. He focused on the truth, on the present. He wasn't a weak 16-year-old anymore. He was an alpha, and he had something waiting for him outside this nightmare. "This isn't real," he growled, pushing against the illusion with sheer willpower. "And I refuse to stay trapped." The world around him trembled, and for a moment, he saw something beyond the illusion. Dark figures chanting, their hands raised in spellcasting. The warlocks. Juniper panted, her mind spinning. Her brother's form still loomed before her, his voice a broken whisper. "You left me." Tears burned in her eyes. "I had no choice." Gale's face twisted into something monstrous, his eyes darkening. The illusion was trying to consume her. If she gave in to the guilt, she would be lost. She inhaled sharply, closing her eyes. "You're not real," she whispered. "You're not him." The air around her wavered. A deep, guttural laugh echoed in her mind. "You cannot escape." But Juniper was done being afraid. With a defiant growl, she reached inside herself, tapping into her instincts, her truth. Her brother was gone, but she was still here. She would fight for the living. Her eyes snapped open. The illusion shattered like glass. She gasped as she returned to reality. The ruins, the warlocks, the dim glow of magic, they all came rushing back. And beside her, Reese collapsed to his knees, gasping for breath. They had broken free. Juniper staggered to her feet, gripping Reese's arm. "Reese, we have to move." Reese blinked, his body still trembling from the effects of the spell, but then his eyes sharpened and his jaw set in determination. The warlocks had tried to trap them in their pasts, to break them with guilt and fear. But all they had done was ignite their fury. Reese stood, his golden eyes blazing. "We end this. Now." Now, free from the trap, Reese and Juniper stand ready to confront the warlocks, their eyes blazing anger. The warlocks' attempt to paralyze them with fear had failed, and now they would pay the price. The air crackled with anticipation, the tension thick as the magic that permeated the ruins. The true battle was about to begin. What new strategies will the warlocks employ now that their illusion has failed? How deeply has the illusion affected Reese and Juniper? Will the trauma of their forced memories hinder them in the coming fight? Or will it fuel their determination? Will Trinity be able to fight against the warlock's influence now that Reese and Juniper have broken free? Now that Reese and Juniper know the warlock's true location, will they be able to free Trinity before more harm is done?
Hey, I am Trinity. Want to know what happens next? Then click the link in the description below and download the Pocket FM app and listen to the exciting episodes of Chosen by Fate, Rejected by the Alpha.
Reese and Juniper were ambushed, their minds ensnared by a warlock spell that plunged them into their deepest, most painful memories. Now, free from the warlock's mental prison, they stand ready to retaliate. But the warlock's plan remains shrouded in mystery. What new horrors await them in the ruins? Have they truly escaped the warlock's influence? Or do lingering shadows of their past still cling to their minds? And most importantly, what will they find when they confront the warlocks directly? Reese and Juniper barely had time to recover before the warlocks struck again. Dark tendrils of magic erupted from the ruins, lashing out like living shadows. Before they could react, the magic coiled around them, constricting with an unearthly strength. Reese roared, his wolf clawing for dominance, but the spell was too strong. The warlocks had been waiting. His vision darkened once more, and the last thing he saw was Juniper's terrified expression before they were torn apart. Reese's eyelids fluttered open, his vision a blur of distorted light and shadow. A bone-deep chill, colder than any winter storm, gnawed at him. He tried to move, but his limbs were leaden, bound by chains that shimmered with an unholy obsidian sheen. The chamber was a tomb carved from nightmares. Flickering, sickly green light emanated from grotesque runes etched into the cold, damp stone walls, each symbol a malignant eye watching his every twitch. The air itself seemed to writhe, whispering secrets that clawed at his sanity. He was a caged beast, a prize specimen trapped in a warlock's twisted menagerie. A languid, mocking voice, smooth as venom, slithered through the oppressive silence. "Ah, the mighty Alpha awakens. How predictable." "Ezekiel," Reese whispered. "You've proven remarkably resilient," Ezekiel purred, his voice a silken caress that belied the venom beneath. "A minor inconvenience, to be sure, but we learn. We adapt, and this time, we've ensured your enthusiasm is thoroughly contained." Reese strained against the chains, his muscles screaming, the wolf within him a raging tempest. "Where is she? Where is Juniper? You touch her and I'll tear your soul apart." Ezekiel's smile widened, a cruel, predatory curve. "Oh, the valiant protector, so concerned. Your little companion is undergoing a rather transformative experience, a personalized journey into the depths of her psyche. We've found her vulnerabilities, you see, and we're exploiting them with exquisite precision." He paused, savoring the look of raw terror that flickered across Reese's face. "You'll witness her metamorphosis soon enough. A spectacle, I assure you." Fury, cold and absolute, consumed Reese. He would not be broken. He would not be contained. He would unleash the storm within him, shatter these infernal chains, and paint these walls with warlock blood. But a chilling dread coiled in his gut. He knew with a certainty that chilled him to the bone that they had anticipated his every move. They had woven a trap of shadow and despair, and he was ensnared within its suffocating embrace. The silence was a suffocating blanket, a void that pressed down on Juniper's ears, amplifying the frantic pounding of her heart. She shivered, an unnatural cold seeping into her bones, chilling her to the core. She was trapped in a circular chamber of cold gray stone, its walls slick with moisture. She felt weak, drained, as if her very essence was being leached away. Her hand instinctively went to her hip, searching for the reassuring weight of her dagger. It was gone. A whisper, cold as a grave wind, slithered through the oppressive silence. "Do you truly believe you can escape your past, little sister?" Juniper's blood ran cold. She spun around, her eyes darting through the shifting shadows. Gale. Her brother stood before her, his form flickering between solid flesh and insubstantial shadow. "You left me to die," he hissed, his voice a rasping accusation that tore at her soul. The chamber around her began to warp and twist, the cold stone walls melting away, replaced by the stark, desolate landscape of her past. The warlock's magic had dragged her back, forcing her to relive the moment that had shattered her world. They were playing with her memories, twisting them into weapons, using her guilt to break her. "This is your penance," Gale's shade whispered, his voice laced with a venomous satisfaction. "You belong here, drowning in the ocean of your regrets." Juniper's breath hitched, a sob caught in her throat. "No, this isn't real. You're not real." But the illusion was too vivid, too real. The pain, the guilt, the raw, agonizing grief. It was all there, as fresh and raw as the moment it had happened. The shadows surged forward, coalescing into monstrous forms, their claws reaching for her, their eyes burning with malevolent intent. She clenched her fists, her nails digging into her palms. "I won't let you win. I won't let you break me." Trapped in separate nightmares, Reese and Juniper faced the warlock's cruel design. Reese, bound and furious, awaited a twisted metamorphosis. Juniper, reliving her past, fought phantoms of guilt. But what was the warlock's true goal? Could they escape their prisons? Or were they doomed to become pawns in a darker game? Where's Trinity? Is she even alive?
Hey, I am Trinity. Want to know what happens next? Then click the link in the description below and download the Pocket FM app and listen to the exciting episodes of Chosen by Fate, Rejected by the Alpha.
Pocket FM. To unlock all the episodes, click the link in bio.